And in depth this morning, getting serious about saving gas as you do your daily driving. You know, driving a hybrid is one thing, but driving it or any car a special way can get you even better mileage than advertised. That's according to drivers known as Hypermilers. And Bryant is one of them, and he joins us this morning. Hey, hyper, people think in terms of, fast movements and things like that, but that's not the case with a Hypermiler.
No, it's actually just the opposite. The idea of hypermiling is to try to drive calmer, less aggressive. What Hypermiler is basically anybody who can beat the EPA. So you go out to fueleconomy.gov and you look up the EPA rating for your vehicle, and if you exceed it, measuring tank for tank, then you're a Hypermiler.
Okay, so how did you get the title? Because, you're getting a lot more miles per gallon than people could even imagine.
Well, I'd read an article about it about a year ago and about 2 years ago, and I found it very interesting. So I started applying some of those tactics, some of those techniques to the car that I had, which wasn't a hybrid at the time. It was just a stick shift four-cylinder car. And I started to exceed the EPA. And I noticed that this isn't really as hard as it sounded, and you can save a lot of money and do a lot of good.
Well, you won a competition, 106 miles per gallon? Come on.
Actually, I got second. The winner was 110 miles per gallon. But yeah, the people at the competition that year were doing phenomenal things with their cars. And these weren't any souped up vehicles. They were, for the most part, stock vehicles. There weren't any special modifications, no sails or solar panels or anything exotic like that.
There's a lot more to it than just driving slowly. Give us some of your techniques.
Well, the basic idea is to drive less aggressively. When you're driving around the city traffic, you always see people who are zipping around other people, trying to get to the first in line at a red light and then tearing off the line as soon as it turns green. All of these behaviors consume a terrible amount of gas. So one of the first things that people can do is just drive less aggressively. Try to calm down and relax a little bit more when you're in the car, and it will save a whole bunch of gas when you do it. So anticipating traffic conditions and looking ahead much further than most people normally do also helps a lot, because it keeps you from being surprised. And when you're surprised, you usually have to mash on the brake or mash on the gas to get out of the situation, and both of which are bad for mileage.
So no pedal to the metal.
No pedal to the metal.
Now, does this kind of driving affect others on the roadway? Are they blowing their horns at you? Do you get passed by a lot of folks? Do you get run over sometimes?
Well, obviously it's Hypermiler's job to stay out of the way of people who need to get around you. So I never impede traffic. I don't do the excessive slow driving on the highway. The idea is you find roads that can get you where you need to go in a way that doesn't impede people or aggravate others on the road. Not out to make anybody angry, just out to save gas.
And that's what you do on your daily commute?
Oh, it took me a couple of months to find the perfect route, and going through a lot of different back streets and highway access roads until I found one that had the least amount of traffic and offered the least amount of annoyance to people who were trying to get to work too.
All right, saving money on gas. Hypermiler, Bryant, thanks a lot for your information. Very important information for a lot of our viewers. Hope they took note of what you had to say.
So do I.
Thank you for joining us.